Our guiding principles. The auto industry endeavors to achieve excellence, innovation, and performance in a sustainable manner. People and the environment are the automotive industry's most important resources. And for this reason, we work together to attain the highest standard in business integrity and in the social and environmental performance of our supply chain. The automotive industry supply chain has a high degree of complexity. Therefore, we believe in the benefits of a common approach and message. The following guidelines clearly describe our minimum expectations for our suppliers, as well as their subcontractors and suppliers. It is also expected that these guidelines will be cascaded down their supply chain. These guidelines will be explained in further detail throughout this training. They are based on fundamental principles of social and environmental responsibility, compliant with local law, and consistent with international expectations. Business ethics. The basis for sustainable and successful business activity is to have integrity and transparent business practices. Companies are expected to operate honestly and equitably throughout the supply chain in accordance with local law. Working conditions and human rights. Working conditions and human rights are made up of the following categories: child labor and young workers, wages and benefits, working hours, forced labor, freedom of association, health and safety, harassment and discrimination. Child labor and young workers. Child labor is not tolerated, and the age of employment must be in accordance with local labor law. Wages and benefits. Compensation and benefits should be competitive and comply with applicable local laws, including those relating to minimum wages, overtime compensation, and legally mandated benefits. Working hours. Working hours, including overtime, should comply with applicable local laws regulating hours of work. Forced labor. Any form of forced or compulsory labor, including human trafficking, is not tolerated. Freedom of association. Workers should be able to communicate openly with management regarding working conditions without fear of reprisal and have the right to associate freely, which includes joining or not joining labor unions, seeking representation, and joining workers' councils in accordance with local laws without fear of reprisal, intimidation, or harassment. Health and safety. Workers should have a safe and healthy working environment that meets or exceeds applicable standards for safety and occupational health. Harassment and discrimination. Harassment or discrimination against employees in any form is not acceptable. Environmental standards. Companies are expected to pursue effective environmental protection throughout the supply chain in order to reduce the environmental footprint of our products throughout their life cycle. All products manufactured within the supply chain, as well as applied materials and substances used in the process, are expected to meet environmental standards for design, development, distribution, use, disposal, or recycling. There are many reasons why companies have increased their efforts on working conditions and human rights, along with environmental standards in the workplace. Companies are increasingly being held accountable for their actions and the actions of their supply chain. The expectation for increased accountability in the auto industry stems from increased globalization and reliance on emerging markets, more complex supply chains, variable working conditions, local laws, and enforcement, linkage between value chain working conditions and brand reputation, perceptions of stakeholders, including employees, customers, activists, governments, capital markets, suppliers. By failing to implement a robust program addressing the elements of the automotive industry guiding principles, companies can be exposed to financial, legal, operational, and reputational risk. The risks for companies include large legal and financial penalties for noncompliance, severe and lasting reputational risk through stakeholder campaigns against the company and its practices. Operational efficiency can be severely impacted through reduced efficiency, decreased productivity, and decreasing employee morale. These risks apply not only to Tier 1 suppliers, but to sub-tier suppliers as well. The potential impact is significant given the large and complicated supply base in the automotive industry. However, there are substantial benefits for companies who proactively implement the policies of the automotive industry guiding principles. Among them, operational benefits, increased quality, increased employee morale and productivity, decreased employee injury and illness, decreased absenteeism and overall compensation costs, decreased turnover and associated costs, enhanced profitability, avoid legal and regulatory costs, achieve customer expectations, improve management systems, business continuity, develop and maintain a stable and reliable supply chain, reduced risk. Non-compliance to local law and international standards presents significant business risk. Improved reputation, enhanced brand reputation, opportunity to be a leader, less negative media attention. It is important that not only management is aware of the fundamentals outlined in the guiding principles, but also employees, suppliers, subcontractors, and business partners. In order to implement the guiding principles successfully, the principles outlined in this training course must be embraced by the entire organization and cascaded down through the supply chain.